Relational Wisdom School live stream every Friday at 12 p.m. Mountain. You can catch us on YouTube at Relational Wisdom. And we have a Facebook group as well. If you're not a part of it, please do join, share more of everything around getting resource back to yourself, source, and others. What does that mean? It means to be in relationship with yourself, source, and others. Right? Coming back to self. A lot of communication we find these days is communicating with myself first before anything. So we always love to check in. We always ask the question, what's alive in you? As it's just it's an opportunity for me to get really in touch with you. What's really going on? So what's alive in you, Summer?
Yeah, look underneath the hood, right? On the
Mhm,
outside, the car can look like it's running just fine until you look under the hood.
mhm,
It's spring here. I'm so excited. The sun, I was soaking it in today. It like excites me like nothing
mm,
else. And there is a background pressure because we've got to move things around the house.
mm,
And I think it'll get fun once we start moving it, but right now it just feels like pressure. So that's what's alive in me.
mm.
How about you?
Yeah, what's alive in me is this like energy of like not forcing things. I'm not able to push as much as I used to.
Mm.
Um, probably remnants of a cold or other things that are happening in me right now. Although there's this like slowness, and it's kind of in a way of an imposed slowness, and just kind of surrendering to that. Um, it's a bit of a fog I'm noticing around my head, and the energy is not as like perky, but I'm just here, and I'm realizing it's actually making me more present.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting enough, isn't it? When I have all
Uh-huh.
that energy, I'm not as present because I'm more restless. And so this slowing down is causing me to be more like focused and attention on what I'm doing because I've got so much energy to give. And also there's this resistance towards like, yeah, moving things in the house as well. Like I've really have a sense of ease the way things are being set up. And so there's I don't know what it is. It's not like a willingness for it to happen. Like I didn't choose this in a way, but it's happening. And so there's a bit of grief there. I'm warning that like I still want you to have your painting room,
Mm.
your podcast room, and then have your healing room, right? And that's gonna change. So I'm like, oh, that sucks. Because if I was in your shoes, I'm like, that would suck. Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
Right. So interesting you talk about being a little bit fluish, sick, slow, and how
Mm,
you're more present. Interesting, because our
mm,
topic for today is capacity.
mm,
How much capacity? It seems like people have less and less, right? They're being stripped to the ends of their financial, emotional, spiritual time frames, and they don't have a lot left to give. That's what it's looking like,
yeah.
right?
And before we dive into it, like, how would you define capacity? I'd love to hear your definition of capacity, and I'll share as well to kind of set it up in a way.
Yeah, capacity. Hmm. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the ability to be present to what's happening in the moment, um, without thinking ahead, without thinking about something else that I have to do right now. Um, I see it as and feel it in my body as this expansive space, um, where I can be really curious about what's happening and other people in front of me. I'm not hurried. I'm not
Mm,
hurried and I'm not worried,
mm, that's
is
important. Yeah.
how I would describe capacity. And when I hear that word, I also think of like voltage, like in the electricity, like there's a lot that can go through it.
Mm,
Yeah, that's what I would describe as capacity.
mm,
Um, and final, I've got hair in my mouth or something. description might be capacity is the extent of my ability to love.
Hmm. Hmm.
And have compassion for others when
Hmm.
they don't have capacity. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I think capacity and compassion go hand in hand.
Hmm.
That's what's coming to mind.
Okay.
How about you? How would
Yeah.
you define?
I liken capacity to like size of bowls, a small bowl, medium size, big bowl, like salad bowls, right? And
Mm.
and because there's different size of bowls, I can work on increasing my capacity,
Mhm.
right? I can increase my capacity to hold grief. For example, grief doesn't go away. It's just my ability to hold it while it's there is increased. And let's say within that bowl, it's how much spaciousness I have to be with others. Like how much physical spaciousness within me, mental, emotional, spiritual, how much of that bowl is filled with my own pain, with my own stories, my judgments, um, my resentment, right? It's a combination of vitality as well, energy, focus. So I find that the more spacious that I have, the more present I can be because there's less
Mm.
going on. Like for example, there's like 20 tabs. You ever see that? Just, like sometimes I create 20
I've seen
tabs
your
in my browser.
computer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The capacity of the computer is limited because there's so much tabs being run and it slows down a computer. So I love kind of like restarting the computer, clears it, and there's capacity to hold more. And I find with capacity is like to be able to hold my emotions, my energy, and other people's energies without losing myself in it, being enmeshed in it, without being like activated, triggered by it. Like you said, compassion, being able to see for what it really is. Like this kind of like, yeah, I'm just here with you rather than being thrashed around by it. So when I think of capacity, when I say how big is your capacity on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I have a lot of spaciousness with me. I can hold this. I can be with this. One being, nah, I'm low.
I'm out.
I'm out. I'm tired. Yeah.
Take
So
me
that's
to
where
the
I'm at.
emergency room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Capacity. Mm-mm-mm. When you were speaking, there's something that lit up in me, and it's quickly just flew out of my brain. Oh, I remember what it is. A lot of people ask me, they're always like, so when people come to you, you know, suicidal, having a breakdown, healing crisis, sick, whatever it is, doesn't that drain you? Actually, no.
Mhm.
It expands my capacity. There's such a difference between trying to fight, force, or fix somebody from a preconceived concept of what we think we should be doing, either to ourselves or other people, and actually being present to what is. I mean, Eckhart Tolle had that idea a long time ago, the power of now. Most of us don't know how to actually feel comfortable in our own skin in the present moment and to be comfortable with whatever's going on. If there's a pain, sometimes we take painkillers to numb it. We're always moving or wrestling or addiction to different things versus sometimes silence and not moving is like such a weird idea in our culture. And there is this saying, and it's so true. There's a book called Harebrained Tortoise Mind. The tortoise wins the race, but everybody in our culture is busy being the hare. Oh, I got to have another job and I got to make more money. And then they buy more things. They're like,
Mm.
this tortoise nervous system can hold capacity. And so I don't know, we've got it so backwards, right? People are like, okay, I got to get all this stuff, but without the capacity, there's no way you can achieve anything. I mean,
Mm.
you can try the steroids and the other things, and eventually your system can't handle it. You can try to shortcut stuff, chasing after that carrot. But
Mm.
first needs to come the capacity. And the other part about capacity and choosing that to become more aware, more successful, more able to handle different circumstances and challenges and to stay on top, to stay mentally, emotionally focused. I totally lost where I was going with that, but it's the choice first to choose capacity and trust it. That's where I'm going with that. Trust. Trust that your body is a conduit and it knows what it's doing. If you need rest, take it. Although, how have we become accustomed in our culture to being tricked into pushing ourselves past our capacity? You know, we work 12, 14-hour days. I've seen a few people lately in our close vicinity that just don't have capacity anymore. Healing crises are they're breaking down, too much gets add up, and then they just don't have the ability to handle anything anymore. And so, what do you think's happening there with that?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna explore like I'm just gonna name what is, you know.
Mm,
And you shared a lot there where I was kind of tracking, and there's a kind of a lot of themes coming up for me as you were sharing. The first thing is like I wasn't told to be okay with my feelings, you know, or to label as being discomfort or something bad. So no wonder it's difficult for me to just be present with what is and be present with the pain without trying to fix it, without trying to suppress my feelings and emotions. I just haven't been taught how. And at the same time, there are messages that it wasn't okay to be with that it was weak, right? I had to be strong. So I'm not surprised that most people, lack the skill to be comfortable with discomfort, you know, um, to be comfortable with silence. That there's this need to fill in the silence. Or if someone is in pain, crying, there's a need to fix, to coddle, to make this person feel better. Culturally, someone I know from India saying there's a cultural habit where if someone were to cry, they would ask them, "Do you want some water? Can I get to you? Can I get you some water?" It's like, yeah, why water, right? And the idea is, well, maybe this would help them. I wanna soothe this. I wanna make them feel better. Water, right? Culturally.
mm,
So there's some discomfort around that because we haven't been trained. It has been modeled or taught how to be with oneself, to be present. What's being taught is the overdrive, right? To work nose to the grindstone, treat your body like a machine, find some performance hacks, biohacks. There's more incentive to become a cog in the wheel of the industrial machine, just more so human becoming more machine like, right? And with that, we lose our humanity, right? We lose ourselves. And you get this proliferation of what the prison of normal that gives drugs and alcohol and entertainments and things to numb, to keep someone afloat, right? Because in a way they're kind of falling apart, letting it all out, right? So it goes back to this capacity piece where people so desire to have a better life. If you ask 10 people, maybe 9 out of 10 people want to have a great life. But in order for them to heal and learn and apply and integrate, they need to have capacity, right? I can see myself on this train of learning, 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 take more courses, pock, 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 all this information. And the head gets so big. Where's the time to integrate that? It's the same thing as I find myself doing busy work, super busy, but super busy, super busy. Do this, do this, do this. But am I actually moving the needle for it? Right? And that requires some slowing down and creating presence and finding out what is the priority to work on those items that are more productive. So yeah, it boils down to, is there capacity to notice what's truly important here and then put energy towards that? Or are we over inundated with the doingness. And if you're trying to do your healing, you're really trying to fix yourself rather than be with what is. And it's very tricky for the mind to kind of wrap its head around that.
Oh, good point. Does capacity come from the mind or somewhere else? Right. I always say to people, my only job when I'm with clients and people is to keep you out of your head. The head's been this amazing master to the Industrial Revolution.
Mm.
How do we now drive ourselves from a different place? I don't know how people decide to choose.
Well, I mean, I think you mentioned it, right? Like crises, right?
Mm.
You know, in Chinese translation, it translates to opportunity,
Danger
right?
or
Danger
opportunity. There's
or
two
opportunity.
words. Yeah, danger
Mm,
or opportunity. Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah. It's one or the other.
Yeah, like a wake up call, right? That wait a minute, this pathway that of adrenal fatigue, burnout, it's not working. You know,
No.
I
Well,
I, I can only do so much. I gotta sleep. Like I gotta sleep. This notion that I'll sleep when I'm dead, right? Then you'll be dead pretty soon. You know.
well, even now, this is totally an aside, but retire. What does retire mean? People talk about retiring. Retire means to go to sleep again. Right. And not the restful kind of the depressed, oh, I don't have any meaning in my life anymore kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of stuck in this
So,
vicious cycle.
mhm,
It's a vicious cycle
mhm.
of like, well, with the model, the system where it is like, okay, I first need to create capacity, but there's no capacity because I'm trying to survive and work multiple jobs, do this, do that, do this, do that. How do you create capacity, right? Until you kind of fall on your face.
Yeah, and then you have to ask for help because I think we're so hyper independent, right? Hyper independence does not create enough capacity. It creates enough for us to be a slave in a machine, maybe. But what helps me with capacity is community. 110% people who are real. It actually gives me energy. We were just at the pool this morning, and one of our friends like, we go to this qigong class and there's 75 people and some of them limp in, but when there's this collective energy, kind of like Avatar, when they're all there, when the mother tree, there's a collective nervous system. And
Mm.
when we're separated from each other and we're in little cubicles all day long, oh, under fluorescent lighting, capacity, we start using things like, those big Coca-Cola
Vending
drinks with
machines.
all that caffeine. I don't know. We try to falsify capacity. Um, and this is where like community starting to come together, bringing back dancing, things that energize people, and people making the choice to make those things a priority and skipping past the fear. Because, with COVID, I think people were afraid of each other, starting to come into more recognition of what happens when we're just present. When we're out of the mind and present with another human being, capacity comes in. It's like plugging into each other. I'm going back to Avatar again. You know those little whatever they're little plug-in things from the
Yeah.
tree. They're little connecting points. When we're present with another person, that's literally what we do. It's like zzz, we're exchanging energy, turning on codes for each other. It's like we try to get energy from outside of ourselves, but it's actually generated from within.
Mm.
We've been tricked.
Yeah. I know that for certain. There's times where I meditate, breath work, or just be present with myself or with another. Just be present with the chaos that's in me, or like my anger, irritation. It creates spaciousness in me.
Weird.
Like,
Most people wouldn't
yeah,
think
weird.
that, would it? Yeah.
Yeah, just observing myself. giving myself that presence actually creates more spaciousness. And I'll liken it to like allowing the energy to move, like hearing myself, giving myself that care, just acknowledgement of what's happening creates spaciousness for me. I'm not running away. I'm not distracting myself. I'm just like, oh, what's happening within me here? Yeah. So the question is, am I carving out space to do that, or am I busy, right? Distracting myself, right? And I can see myself in the past doing that because I was too afraid to hear myself or look at myself. It was
It's like
scary. There was
reading
nothing.
the panel, right? What are the panels? Like you've got a motherboard and a computer and all these things, the lights turn on, the warning lights, whatever. It's
Yeah.
like we're taught to completely ignore that within our own being. We have no idea
Mm.
how to read our own motherboards. It's like, just burn them and just try to keep going. It's
Yeah. And
very
so it's
interesting.
now it's time to build that skill to read our own motherboards. It's time. Hi, Angeline.
Hello,
Looking forward to
Angeline.
being with you later this evening. Yeah.
Yes, Angel, first part of her name.
Yeah. So it's kind of like this idea of like, if I'm in a place where I'm drowning, right? And I'm being asked to create capacity, I'm like, how? Or you got to get capacity. There's no capacity. It gets to the point where something needs to drop, right? Something needs to stop because I am only one person.
Well, so this is what's the number one thing that interferes with the ability to have the capacity?
Well, I mean, judgment, the mind,
Fear. Yeah,
fear.
fear. Yeah, I
Mm,
need to take on this extra job. I need to stay awake. I need to do all of these other things. We don't choose the body signals first.
mm,
We're always thinking we need to be or do something more. And it boils down to, oh, I'm not worthy enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not connected to source. I'm not
mm,
part of creation itself.
mm,
Um, we have to have one more cast. I have to make, there's always something more that we have to do versus the truth, which is I'm already everything that I need. And as I tap into that in my present moment, it expands exponentially. It seems woo woo. Once you get into a group of people, like we just had a women's group 2 weeks ago, and one of the women was just like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. She finally just said it out loud. Like she just feels like a cog in a wheel. She just, cried and broke down. She just acknowledged it to herself. And then the other day she's like, I feel great again. Like it's just so nice to be witnessed and to acknowledge the truth and then have no one judge you for it. Judgment just seeps the energy out of an acknowledgement of truth. And so I think capacity is a lot simpler than we've made it out to be.
mm.
It's the
Yeah,
unlearning part that's the hard part. The unlearning of all our habits and behaviors that think we
totally.
need
I mean,
to be something other than we are.
there's that physical capacity, right? Like my willpower is limited in a day before I just like, oh man, I'm tired. I just gotta go sleep. There's nothing else I could do, right? And that could be increased by, food, nutrition, sleep, exercise, doing work that's fulfilling, right? I can imagine work that's draining can drain that capacity. And then there's that mental capacity of like, what type of stories am I entertaining,
Mm.
ruminating on? Thought generated stress over and over again, right? This mental load. And then the emotional side of things of like stuffing my emotions away, right? Into hurt lockers. And that takes up capacity because it doesn't go away. It's still there. So it just takes up more room, right? And so there's so many layers. And I can imagine like, yeah, practicality is like do less stuff. Less is better, right? Less is more. Just do less, plan less, you know? Okay. But what about the mental emotional side too? Like what stories am I entertaining here? What images am I projecting outwards? And am I creating enough space to just be truthful with myself, being truthful with what's alive in me, naming all of it. Like, this is how it is. This is what my experience is, and owning it. You know what doesn't increase capacity for me is when I blame other people. Like it's a temporary fix, but it just keeps coming back because I'm still dealing with it and I'm waiting for something outside of me to change for me to feel better, to get more capacity.
Yeah, I love how you've separated out the mental, emotional, physical. I think a lot of people try to focus on the physical and it
Mm,
limits them. And then they judge themselves over and over again for not being able to have the physical capacity. I should go to the gym more, I should eat better, blah, 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 all the shoulds.
mm,
But I see mostly people are unable to have the capacity because of the mental thoughts that they're having, right? I have a few
mm,
clients that are depressed, and really what they're needing is deep rest
mm,
from the mental load and the judgments of what they think they should do, like quieting in the realm where we just rejuvenate ourselves from within, rest of the mind, allowing the connection to source to be made again. And
mm,
then the capacity expands naturally on its own. We just tend to put our focus into the wrong spaces, which I think we first focus on the physical capacity, the physical side of things. Whereas if we have this mental space, if we're watching the thoughts, if we're dealing with our trauma and allowing the energy to move, it's so much easier to attend to all the physical things and to make the right choices that allow us to have the physical capacity. And we make the choices based on alignment rather than fear. Because anytime we make a decision based on fear, the capacity closes.
yeah. Just being aware of decisions and behaviors that drain. Like, I just think about, like, it's not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just whether it's draining or not. Is it empowering
Right.
or is it disempowering? That's it. You choose. You are the author of your own story. You get to choose. And I find that, like, if we can create space to clean out the mental and emotional gunk, we have capacity to do much more greater things physically. Because what type of story am I living? You know, what type of enemy image am I projecting on this person that no matter what they do, I see them through this lens and it doesn't matter? How can we bring light to that and just own the truths behind? I always go back to feelings and needs, right? Like, what's happening for me in this experience?
Hmm.
Going into the tenderness of myself, the openness, the vulnerability to allow another human being to meet me. That starts shifting things for me. That creates capacity. Yeah. So, how many skeletons are you carrying in your closet? Yeah,
Hmm. Ah, skeletons are almost as sick as our secrets, right? Capacity. Oh my, the more skeletons, the less capacity. Whatever.
totally. We're carrying that along.
Mhm.
It goes with you. Yeah. It doesn't go away. It's there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories because I've got people writing, co-writing in my book and the stories, and it's interesting as we let go and let things out, the things that we've been ashamed of. We all have things we're ashamed of. Somehow we've been taught that our natural humanness is wrong on some level. And as people work through and it's really about they're writing a story in a book and other people are going to read it, but really it's about writing it for themselves, giving them permission to go, oh, I can acknowledge this now. I can acknowledge that this energy was here. And most people don't think that this wasn't an acceptable experience. This was trauma and I have to hide it or do something with it versus just going, oh, what's the imprint that it's left in me and how can I just be present with it? And well, it's magical in a way. We think that magic is pulling rabbits out of hats or changing one form to another, or alchemy is gold and silver and all of that. But the true alchemy, the true magic is that um, we're energetic beings. We have an energetic capacity. And as we attend to universal law as it is in our own being, it moves, it upgrades itself. It's kind of like Apple. Every day we get an upgrade. Well, consciousness itself is giving us upgrades every second, every minute. We just have to open ourselves up to it. We have to open up the capacity. If we're so busy thinking and doing what other people tell us to do, we're not opening up to the capacity that's possible. And that's where I get excited when people have healing crises, because then they're like, oh, well, all this other stuff that I've been trying to do and use my willpower and my physical being to like force myself through to things. It's no longer possible. They're like, I can't do it anymore. They're a wet noodle.
Yeah.
And then it just opens up naturally to have those pieces enter their being, to receive it. It's almost well, it is that simple. It's the unlearning of what we think we've had to do our whole lives, to compete, to compare, to do all of that stuff. And money, like the money programs, yeah, it's a big deal. But the bottom line is we don't leave with any of that shit. When we leave this plane, the money doesn't come with you. So you need to have enough capacity based on the community and how you live. But mostly it's how you feel within yourself. Do you have the energy? Do you have the love, the compassion, the excitement, the contribution, the growth, without thinking that you need more? You're only driven by this inner desire of what's life-giving to you. And if you keep moving to those decisions that are life-giving to you, your capacity is enormous. It's enormous.
Hey, Brooke. Great to be with
Hey.
you again. It's been a minute. Yeah, capacity, eh?
You're looking
You know,
tired right now, hey? Your
yeah, I
capacity.
am.
Yeah.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here though. Yeah. And I see capacity. Capacity. Yeah, doing work that I love increases capacity, right? Like being
Mm.
excited for life, like kids, endless energy. Where does that come from? Right? They're like tiny bodies, right? Though connected. So how clean is my cord to source to my creator? How clean? How clean is the food I eat or what do I put into my body? How clean are my thoughts, right? It's all these different levels of like how much gunk am I putting into my system? Because that all adds up to a lack of capacity. Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because it just seems like the world is revving up and there's more chaos. Maybe there's always been like that. The price of groceries, cost of goods. It gets to the point where people will break. You mentioned health crises. There'll be more of that the way things are going. And it's just a realization that, yeah, I can't do this all myself. I can't. This way of living, this way of relating, this way of working can't be done.
Mm-mm.
Change needs to happen, right? A dissolution of the old ways into the new ways, a destruction for something new to be born. And one thing that comes through for me is like this this ability to ask for help and support. And it can be so hard for me to
Mm.
ask for that, to receive it. Even at times where my capacity is low and you offer to drive, I'm like, I want to drive. And there's a story there that this is my role. There's also a story of like, I'm in charge of the safety. I got this,
Mm.
it's in my hands. This is my responsibility. And, it hasn't caught up, but in the past, right? Where I'm like, okay, here you go, surrender, give you the keys. So to be able to receive, or like you offering me a head massage or this or that, I'm like, without feeling guilty about it, without keeping
Mm.
score of needing to reciprocate, or
Oh, interesting.
even asking for help from someone and feeling weak or something, whatever story, I'm like, oh, I got this. I can do this myself. I don't need their help. I can figure this out. To where those stories come from that prevent me from, right? Prevent me from just being a relationship to just really realize I'm not a machine. I'm a human being. Like I'm not trying to pretend to be someone I'm not. Dealing with all that
Interesting.
gunk. Yeah, along the way.
Yeah, the guilt, the idea of because really capacity is about receiving everything that's there. We go outside, people rush to get to their car to go to the job. The light, the smell, the fresh air. There's so many places to receive energy and information. Bare feet on the ground. Grounding's a real thing. Energy from the earth, energy from other people when you're actually present with them. But funny how we've been guilted into, well, oh, and that whole transactional idea. Like, oh, I'll have to owe them. Or I'm guilty if I'm asking for things versus, well, there are people pleasers that give a bit too much and then they're resentful. But as I'm giving, so I'm receiving. If I'm in true service, what I'm doing sustains me from the inside out. There's an energy, there's a gratitude that emulsifies in the field. And it's thick and it's full of I'm seeing this gel-like substance, like when you put flax seeds or the holy basil seeds together, chia seeds, and they get this gel-like. It's like they all congeal and they're full of so much life-giving energy. The seeds that just explode into big trees and plants and things like that. This energy is in our being. We have this massive capacity to tap into source energy anytime we want. And by ourselves, it's not half as strong as is with it's another person. And when you're with a group of people, holy crap, exponential, exponential energy of different layers, not just physical push through willpower energy. It's thoughtful, present, evolutionary upgrades that just happen on their own. It's like the caterpillar that goes into the cocoon. It comes out a butterfly. How does it do that? Does it think its way through it? No. It's already built within us. And this is something we haven't been learned to trust. But the more groups and people that you can get into that feel safe for you to be present and honest to your own inner experience, you immediately upgrade your capacity. It's simple. And I'm curious because Brooke wrote something out there that looks pretty cool. The bandwidth. Ooh, yes, capacity, bandwidth, emotional intelligence. I need to know how I feel to recognize. Oh, 100%. Yeah. How do you recognize when someone else has capacity or not unless you're able to see it in yourself? Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's a mirror, but I see in others, I see in myself. Yeah. So we talk about like this idea of like making room for capacity, right? And the other side of the coin of this conversation is how do we increase the capacity, like the bowl, the container, And you mentioned that, like, maybe sitting in some spaces where people are doing some emotional processing in a safe way. Be with that, right? What do you think? What do you think are ways to increase
I mean,
capacity?
that's my favorite way. A lot of people are like, "Oh, man, that just drains me," or I take on other people's a lot of empaths, "Well, I'll take on other people's energy." Well, stop doing that. Let it pass through you. I think there's a lot of, ways that we judge energy without just allowing it to be energy. All energy applies to the same universal laws as all other energy. It just keeps moving. It
Yeah.
wants to keep moving, and we stop it through judgment. This is the number one thing that humans being do is they judge each other. There's so much harsh criticism in the world, contrast, comparing, competition. Um, we're just at the gym, you know, and talking about how people when they go into competition because their body needs to look a certain way and they use they use steroids to build up, but when they go to competition, they use something that dries them
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
so they don't
To
weigh as
shut
much or
shut
whatever.
them down. Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
talk about is that really good for your body? Is that building capacity? Or is that just, building this external judgment of how we should be, should look, and should behave? That is not capacity building.
yeah. Yeah. Capacity building. I like to use the gym. Like the gym is a good example of building physical capacity, right? If I lift heavy weights, right? Through resistance, heavy weights, I increase my capacity for strength. Or if I
Mhm.
run, I continue to run, I increase my capacity for endurance. My stamina increases. So that's seen immediately, results, right? Mental capacity is to build the muscle of concentration. You can do that through meditation. You could do that through managing thoughts and not becoming it, allowing the thoughts to fly by, to not become the story. So, how it's like training that wild elephant, right? The mind of the wild elephant. Am I letting the elephant run and rampage all over? Or am I training it to stay in its place? And eventually, the wild elephant can just run around, but I'm not bothered by it. So that's mental concentration. Emotional capacity is just being with my emotions, being with my anger, my rage, my grief, my sadness, not being afraid of it. And the more I tap into it, the more I have range of capacity to be with my range of emotion. And I can be with others' emotions because it doesn't scare me as much anymore because I've been with mine. I've been with my intensity. So then I can be with your intensity. Yeah. So really, I find building capacity is building the muscle of breaking through resistance,
Hmm.
pushing against resistance, weights, for example, my thoughts, my intrusive thoughts, and my emotions that I'm suppressing. Like, can I just be with it?
Right. And I think part of capacity, and we haven't talked about it today, is the nervous system, right? Living by the nervous system. If I have this appointment booked with someone else, and I've had someone say, "Well, I have to do what I say I'm going to do. I have to say what I said I was going to go." But I'm feeling really run down and tired, and I don't have the mental capacity. But I need to push myself to go. Building capacity means trusting, "Oh, you know what? I'm feeling really exhausted and tired right now. I need to actually rest and not come to this appointment." And letting people know. Living by our nervous system capacity, what the nervous system says, not trying to override our own. Um, and you talked about building, like building muscle, building resilience, and there's kind of an edge to that. And I'm curious what yours is when I go to the gym, I build muscle, but sometimes I'm tired and I'm just opening up mental capacity and space for myself, being at the gym and taking time to relax and there's times where we can run, um, have creative ideas, surges, dance, have the energy, and there's other times where we need to rest, right? And both build capacity, but they build it in a different way. And so I think a lot of us are used to drinking coffee and caffeine and pushing, 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 trying to build a capacity, and it does the exact opposite. So, how do you know when it's time to, you know, give energy to give it versus to take the time to receive it and fill back up? Like, how do you know when that is for you?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a bit tricky one. Because I know my mind can just overpower and push things
Yeah.
through. So it's like tuning into my body and what my body needs. And there's times where like I know by moving my body, I gain energy.
Hmm.
If I dance, if I exercise, instead of just staying at home and being in bed. So it does serve me to move. And there's times where it doesn't serve me to move. It better serves me to rest and be in bed. So it's a bit tricky there. Hmm. Yeah, I just don't have anything that is kind of a one size fit all. But one thing in my experience, just yeah, tuning into what my body needs. Um, but it's contradictory
Learning.
as well.
It can be contradictory. It comes back to we had a group of women over the other day, and a lot of people, they focus on weight loss. And people can maintain that with their willpower. They're choosing different foods and they're weighing it and all of this stuff, but it becomes an obsession almost. Versus the idea of checking into my body. Am I actually hungry? Am I soothing myself? Am I anxious? When I'm anxious or have ideas, I tend to want to eat crunchy things. We're not taught to stop and check in. It's like, stop. Is something outside of yourself more important than checking in with yourself? Should you go to that lunch with your friend even though you're completely exhausted and run down? Or do you stop? What's the most important thing, my operating system or everything outside of myself? And this is where, mothers, people, caregivers, they talk about that, right? I've given so much outside of myself, I'm no longer able, the adrenal fatigue, the burnout. How do we learn that it's okay to stop?
Yeah, there's so many layers that could influence me. Like if I'm just like going 100 miles per hour, my body could just be addicted to stress and adrenaline.
Yeah.
And that's normal for me. Or I've eaten so much junk food and I listen to my body, my guts start craving junk food.
Yeah.
Right. And so if I'm tuning into my body, how much it is influenced by disempowering chemicals or signals. I know my mind can make up any story, right? Though if I'm tuning into my intuition, how to create enough spaciousness and discernment between these other signals that are sending me to eat those bag of chips. So I think it really starts with like starting with a clean slate because not a lot of people track their sleep or what they eat or their vitality throughout the day. Who are they hanging around with? Like what gives them energy? What takes away energy? What if someone went on a detox, a cleanse, and just process of elimination? Get the sleep consistent, get the food consistent, get the exercise consistent, and then tune in. Tune in. And maybe the data is more accurate, less influenced by other parasites. Right? There's a lot of factors, and who am I hanging around with? What type of social media messages am I consuming? Tell me I need this or need that, right? So I guess it's like how much of it is me, or is it being influenced by some other thing?
I mean, there's another layer for you because law of attraction, right?
Mm.
We can influence and be influenced.
How's this tied back to capacity again? Are you guys listening to your intuition to know when to rest and when to exercise?
I mean, yeah. I think in our culture, it's safe to say that most of us try to push ourselves to be something that we're not. We try to go and
Yeah.
uh, work too much.
Mm.
We do too many things in our culture. We have so many extracurricular activities. I mean, parents these days are driving around everywhere trying to get
So
we're doings.
maybe the question is, how do I know when enough is enough?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah. There comes an edge, and I either lean over it or I jump way over it, right? So when do I know I need to take that pit stop and rest?
Preferably before the wheels fall off.
Yeah, for sure, right? So tuning into, like, I know for me, I know I'm ready to rest when I get agitated. Like this
Oh,
energy starts in my chest, and there's times where I just push through it, like just nope, just do more work, just do more work, just power through it, and I get more agitated, more agitated. Right? And that's for me the signal, Dre. Time to step away from the computer. Just lay down in bed. Go outside for a walk. So these are signals that tell me, okay, I know I gotta walk away here. Yeah. I get to that zone of like, just like, I don't know, man. Just think I'm productive, but I'm just doing busy work, Like it's just like, so we gotta
uh,
know that limit, right? Yeah. And we push our limits. In a way, it's good because I know where my limits are.
yes. And I'm aware that we have a meeting in about
Mhm.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So capacity. Some final words about capacity.
Don't talk to your loved ones and push a conversation when they don't have capacity. It's such an important question to ask people when you're having
Mm,
important conversations. Hey, what's your capacity from 1 to 10? Andre and I use it all the time. Hey, what's your capacity right now? It's so
mm,
important. We ask our young adults here that are living here,
mm.
what's your capacity right now? If it's low, don't push the conversation.
Especially a crucial
Only a
conversation, a
crucial
critical conversation.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pay attention to capacity with ourselves and with other people. Things go way better when you're asking those questions. That would be my
Mhm.
final thing about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Yeah. And if you want to expand your relational capacity, we have an ultimate relationship event
Mm,
coming up on April 20th and 21st. It's for people who really want to start paying attention to the capacity and expanding it so they can be more effective in their relationships and their life, especially for entrepreneurs and people who are thinking outside the box already. How do they align with themselves to create even more of the good stuff? That's what it's all about.
yeah.
Yeah.
We essentially train mental and emotional capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to increase that capacity, check out our Facebook group. And if you're a couple,
Relational wisdom community.
or if you're mindfully preparing for your next relationship, check out the Ultimate Relationship Event. Yeah, and let us know any questions too. Love to hear from you. DM Summer, myself. Yeah, love to be in touch. Brooke, Angeline, ciao. Thanks for being with us. Until next time.
Bye,
Dre signing
everybody.
off.
Happy
Bye-bye.
resting.